Alright, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the Super Rares and Legendaries for Winterspell Lorcana Limited. We're doing both at the same time because there's not too many of either of them, and so it should be a normal length video. Quick reminder, we're going to start with our lowest cost characters, then we're going to move up to locations, then actions, and finally, items. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off, we have Beast, a 2-cost inkable 3/1 that produces 1 lore when questing. He also has Rush, and whenever this character challenges, if he's at a location, he takes no damage from the challenge. I'm going to bring up again that locations aren't really that common in this set, but you only need a few to really make this guy shine. You just gotta play him, put him at a location, and then he removes a guy almost immediately. Probably better cards than Super Rare though, so I'll give him a B. Next up is Lilo, a 2-cost uninkable 1/2 that produces 2 lore when questing that says, during each opponent's turn, the first time this character would take damage, it takes no damage instead. I'd say she's hard to kill, but she still dies when she takes 2 damage, meaning your opponent could probably just ping her for 1 and then challenge her with something bigger. Still, she's not that bad of a card, I'd give her a C. Up next is Mulan, a 2-cost inkable 1/4 that says, when this character quests, gain lore equal to her strength to a maximum of 6 lore. This might be the best card in this set. I'm not sure if she'll shine in Limited, but it's way easier to get strength here than it is to get lore, so I'm gonna say that she's at best an A, and at worst, a low A. Moving on, we've got Pocahontas, a 2-cost uninkable 3/2 that produces 1 lore when questing. She also says, whenever this character quests, gain lore equal to another chosen exerted character's lore value. She doesn't say it has to be one of your characters, which makes her actually incredible, because that means if your opponent plays a bigger guy than you were able to get, you basically have that card now. I'm going to give her a B. Swooping on in is Angela, Night Warrior. She's a 3-cost inkable 2/3 that produces 1 lore when questing. Her effect is, when you play this character, you may give chosen character Challenger +2 and Resist +2 until the start of your next turn. She also has Eternal Night. Your gargoyle characters lose the Stone by Day ability. There is exactly 1 card in this set with the Stone by Day ability, and it's in the rare slot, so I don't think that second effect of Angela is going to matter. But the Challenger +2 and Resist +2 is fairly good, so I'm going to give her a C. Next up is Bambi, a 4-cost inkable 3/5 that produces 1 lore when questing. He also has Boost 2, and during your turn, whenever this character exerts, reveal a number of cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards under him. Put all revealed character cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you get boost support, this card is fantastic. He provides card advantage and lets you dig for answers if you have them. I'm going to give him a B. We've also got Belle, a 4-cost inkable 2/3 that produces 2 lore when questing, and says, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may put that card from your discard into your inkwell face down and exert it. This is a good way to turn your losses into ramp. It's a pretty good effect, and I'll give her a C in the super rare slot. Next up, Darkwing Duck, a 4-cost uninkable 3/5 that produces 1 lore when questing. His effect is, whenever this character quests, you may put an item card from your discard in the bottom of your deck. If you do, you may play an item with cost 5 or less from your discard for free. If you have a lot of items in your deck, this guy is a must-have. After all, you do have to return an item for every item you try to play from your discard. So that's a pretty big downside because that means you do have to pick and choose which items you want back. Otherwise, I'd give this guy a high C. Up next is Goofy, a 4-cost uninkable 4/4 that produces 2 lore when questing. He also has Boost 2, and when this character is banished, each opponent chooses and discards a card for each card that was under him. This is basically just a good way to keep your opponent from banishing this guy until they have no cards in their hand already. So you'll either get a huge lore swing, or an opponent who's just top decking. I'll give him a high C. Coming up, we've got Scrooge McDuck, a 4-cost uninkable 4/3 that produces 1 lore when questing, and says, whenever this character quests, each opponent loses 1 lore. Draw a card for each 1 lore lost this way. And, at the end of your turn, if an opponent has 0 lore, you gain 1 lore. Stealing lore is still pretty rare in this set, so his second ability probably won't trigger. He'll probably produce a maximum of 2 lore in most limited games, but stealing from your opponent is worth at least a B. Clomping on up is Fen, a 4-cost, uninkable 2/3 that produces 1 lore when questing, and has Rush, Challenger +3, and Evasive. This thing is coming in swinging and won't be attacked unless you want it to be. I do think there are better cards in the super rare slot though, so I'm going to give him a C. Next up is Chernabog, a 5-cost, uninkable 5/4 that produces 2 lore when questing. His effect says when you play this character, you may shuffle chosen opposing character into their player's deck. If you do, that player may play a character from their discard pile for free. If your opponent's discard is low on anything threatening, you can change out a boost card with a ton of cards under it and has been hugely supported with a little guy you already banished a few turns ago. I'm going to give him a low B. Following Chernabog is John Smith, a 5-cost, uninkable 3/6 that produces 2 lore when questing and has Bodyguard, as well as opponents must choose this character for actions and abilities if able. You give all your characters ward except this one guy. It's excellent in an evasive deck. Probably a B, maybe an A if you have a lot of evasive cards. Our only 6-cost in the super rare slot is going to be Lilo, a 6-cost inkable 3/5 that produces 2 lore when questing. She has Shift 4, and whenever this character quests, you may play a character with cost 2 or less from your discard for free. Recursion is important, but she only returns your little guys. Could be good in a deck that has a lot of little guys and helps rebuild a broken board state at least once. I'm going to give her a B. Next we have Tamatoa, a 7-cost inkable 6/6 that produces 1 lore when questing and has Boost and Ward. He also has, whenever you put a card under one of your characters or locations, this character gets +1 lore this turn. Boost support that gives way more lore per card you're boosting. Right up there with Donald, maybe even a bit higher. I'm going to give him an A. There's no locations in the super rare slot, so we'll move right on to actions. Our first one being Nani's Payback, a 4-cost inkable action that says each opponent loses lore equal to the damage on chosen character of yours, to a maximum of 4 lore each. Draw a card. If you have a huge guy with loads of damage, this sends your opponent back almost a full turn, depending on where you are in the game. It lets you draw a card either way, and if nothing you control is damage, it is inkable, so I'm going to give it a B. Next we have Colors of the Wind, a 4-cost inkable song that says, each player reveals the top card of their deck. Draw a card for each different ink type of cards revealed this way. You're drawing maybe 2 cards off of this, which isn't bad if you sing it, but I don't think it'll do too well. I'm going to give it a high D. We're going to end the actions with Raging Storm, 8-cost, uninkable, banish all characters. This is a full board wipe, which is just insane and limited, but the cost of 8 ink might be too much for this to see any meaningful play. I'm going to call it a high D as well. No items in the super rare slot either, so we're going to move straight on to the legendaries. We're going to start off with Tinkerbell, a 3-cost inkable 3/3 that produces 1 lore when questing, and says, while you have 4 or more cards in hand, this character gains evasive, and while you have 7 or more cards in hand, this character gets +3 lore. I don't see a world where you are playing limited and have a huge amount of cards in your hand. If you can, this is a solid A, but otherwise this is going to be a D. Moving on, we've got Angel, a 4-cost inkable 3/3 that produces 1 lore when questing and says, while you have no cards in your hand, this character gains resist +2, and once during your turn, you may choose and discard a card to deal 2 damage to chosen character. It rewards you for having no cards in your hand and helps you get to the point where you're getting no cards in hand either. I'm going to give it a B. Next up, we've got Donald Duck, a 4-cost inkable 4/4 that produces 1 lore when questing. He also says whenever you use the boost ability of a character, you may put the top card of your deck under them face down. And during opponent's turns, whenever one of your other characters is banished, you may draw a card for each card that was under them. He boosts your boosts and gives you card advantage you wouldn't have had before. He is a B most of the time, and an A if you get enough boosts. Moving on, we've got Pocahontas, a 5-cost inkable 3/6 that produces 2 lore when questing. She also has Shift 3, and when you play this character, if you used Shift to play her and none of your characters challenge this turn, characters can't challenge until the start of your next turn. Now, this is a great way to control the board if you get all of the Pocahontas necessary to be able to shift her consistently, but otherwise, this is going to be a C. Following Pocahontas, we've got Anna, a 5-cost inkable 5/5 that produces 1 lore when questing. She also says, if a card left a player's discard this turn, this card gains Shift 0. When this character quests, you may gain lore equal to the lore of a character in your discard. If you do, put that card on the bottom of your deck. This is a good payoff for all the cards that remove cards from people's discards. If you get enough Annas, this could be an A, but for now, I think it's a low B. Now it's time for a very impressive card, Moana, a 5-cost inkable 4/4 that produces 2 lore when questing and says you can ink cards from your discard. Taking old resources and making them new is great, and could probably get your inkwell bigger than everybody else's by a wide margin. I'm calling this an A. Next up is Elsa, a 6-cost inkable 5/5 that produces 1 lore when questing and has Shift 4. She also says when you play this character, or whenever you play a location, you may exert chosen character with 3 strength or less. And, while this character is at a location, she gets +3 lore. She's a good payoff for the locations you could possibly get, but there's not as many as I think that would make her work really well with the first ability. Her second ability almost more than makes up for it though. I'd call her a high B, and if you can get enough locations, she's a solid A. Next up is Scrooge McDuck, a 6-cost inkable 4/6 that produces 2 lore when questing with Shift 4. When you play this character, you may put a card from the top of your deck face down under each of your other characters. If you do, those characters gain Ward until the start of your next turn. He boosts everything and protects everything. He's absolutely busted. Gonna give him an A. Let's get dangerous with Darkwing Duck, a 7-cost inkable 6/8 that produces 2 lore when questing. He's got Shift 5, and during your turn, whenever an item is banished, you may pay 1 to deal 2 damage to chosen character. Also, this character can challenge ready villain characters. Items banishing themselves makes this a good way to ping opponents and remove a whole board using chip damage, if you're patient. And a 5-cost 6/8 that can quest immediately is nothing to sneeze at if you can shift him. I'm going to give him a B. Our next 7-cost is Todd, a 7-cost inkable 6/6 that produces 2 lore when questing. He also has Shift 5, Evasive, and twice during your turn, whenever this character is chosen for an action or an item's ability, you may ready him. There are tons of cards in this set that target your own things to either make them stronger or produce more lore. This is a good way to get a huge lore swing in one turn. I'm going to call him a B, probably an A if you can get the resources to make him great. Our last character for the set is Wreck-It Ralph, a 7-cost uninkable 3/4 that produces 3 lore when questing. He also has Boost, and this character gets +1 strength for each card under him. And when this character is banished, banish all characters with strength equal to or less than the strength he had in play. It's a board wipe. You can crash him into something smaller than him. It's a board wipe. You can crash him into something that has more strength than him, hopefully trading it and everything smaller than him. If you don't want to challenge, you can let him get stronger while you quest for 3 lore a turn, and have your opponents decide when they have to challenge him, wiping the board anyway. I wish he cost less, but for now, he's a solid B. Our last card for the set is Ohana Means Family, a 3-cost inkable action that says, remove all damage from chosen character of yours. Draw a card for each 1 damage removed this way. This is the only way you're going to get a huge hand in limited, and it protects your guys. I'm going to give this an A. That's the entire Lorcana set under review. Let me know if you disagree with any of my rankings, and let me know how you do at your local tournaments. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.